When you see the brush, how difficult do you think it is to get in Minecraft? Not very hard, right? All you have to do is kill a chicken, mine some copper, and then you have a brush. But in my desert superflat world, where chickens are non-existent and copper's limited to drown drops, it can feel impossible. So join me in my 20-day long compilation to get literally one feather and one copper ingot. By the way, watch until the end for the unreleased Day 80, where I reap the rewards of my perseverance. With that being said, subscribe, and hope you enjoyed the video. I didn't realize it immediately, but I found out I made my melon farm wrong. This is day 61 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I wanted to make a melon farm. After going back and forth from my storage to the farm, I used a cool trick with coarse dirt to make farmland. Little did I know, this wouldn't matter, because the melons were facing the wrong direction. I soon realized the error of my ways, but decided to distract myself with other tasks to avoid accountability. I expanded my base, fought slimes, converted coarse dirt to regular dirt, just in time to realize that my worst fears were confirmed and that I had screwed up. Thankfully, however, my actions didn't have consequences because the fully grown melon stems converted to seeds anyway. So I simply made my melon farm face the correct direction to avoid conflicts ever again. At least I learned something new today. My own pettiness caused me to make a useless farm. This is day 62 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I was trying to make a drown farm to get copper. After collecting the remains of several glow squid, I made it my goal to build a farm without the use of tutorials. I made a tunnel-like structure for potential zombies to fall into, as well as a hole for them to become drowned. Before nightfall, however, I knew I needed to light up the surroundings to maximize the amount of mobs spawning. So I took my dupe string and went to useless build to buy as many campfires as I could. And as I finished mining all my campfires, I saw 2 husks and dragged them into my secret tunnel. Not before killing one of them by accident. This experiment, as expected, did not work out well at all, but funny enough, the husk converted into a normal zombie before turning into a drown. Didn't help me with this farm though. I have 936 gravel in my inventory. This is why. This is day 63 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I want to get more dirt to expand my wheat farm. However, due to the lack of dirt in this world, the most efficient way to make dirt is to combine it with gravel to make coarse dirt, then use a hoe to convert it back to normal dirt. Since I was running low on gravel, however, I needed to go to the Nether, the most reliable place to get gravel in this world. Annoyingly, however, I had to walk hundreds of blocks to find even a decent sized patch of gravel. Luckily though, it was more than enough to fill my inventory, especially when I had an efficiency 4 unbreaking 3 mending iron shovel on my hand. Shout out to Nether quartz ore, by the way. Right as I was ready to go back into the overworld though, a wandering trader approached me. I wanted to kill it, but it sneaked back into the overworld, so I decided to call it quits and simply expanded my wheat farm vertically using my newly crafted coarse dirt. During this though, the same wandering trader approached me, and feeling generous, I bought some red sand, right before killing them of course. At least I have gravel to make their grave. I made this horde of zombies follow me on purpose. This is day 64 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I need to fix all of my farms because apparently none of them can function properly. First up was the melon farm, which according to this comment doesn't work because the seeds will only make full melons on dirt blocks. So I placed some coarse dirt hoping that'll work out. In between this project, I create farmland for more crops to be placed, but that won't be wheat. That's because after finishing my melon farm, I went out to attract some zombies. Using the zombie recruitment mechanic, I got an entire horde of zombies to spawn. After falling off my platform a few times, I found a way to hit the zombies without them being able to hit me, as I killed them all to get a very specific item, a potato. New crop, new me. My villager population almost got wiped out by zombies. This is day 65 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I want more villagers to trade with. So I began by harvesting some wheat to make bread so the villagers can breed. Then I created shulker boxes purely for the sake of storing more beds. After crafting all 64 of my beds, I went to Uselessville to place them. What I then realized was that because of the additional height, the walls meant to block the villagers from escaping were suddenly reachable. Luckily, I had prepared by having walls in my inventory, so everything was a-okay. Then the husk somehow got into the walls and made the villagers go into a panic, so I had to scramble to put up walls, and it somehow worked out, despite a gold armored baby zombie sneaking up on me and nearly draining me of all my levels. Finally, I decided to make an underground tunnel so I can protect the villagers from the zombies while also being able to leave myself. Well, at least I get to breed these villagers now. I crafted 480 torches today. This is why. This is day 66 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I want less mobs in my world. So after breeding my villagers, I went to my string duper and shoved all the string I had into shulker boxes. However, I realized that I didn't have as much string as I thought, so while waiting for the chest to fill up, I bred my cows with wheat and even expanded their pen out of kindness. After the string was ready though, I went to useless build to begin trading. Do I feel bad about dragging the villagers out of bed during the night for my greedy ambitions? Not one bit. After spending all the emeralds I had for campfires, I went straight to work breaking them all for coal, not realizing that I was going to need to empty my entire wood storage to make so many torches. And by the time I'm done crafting all these torches, it's already morning of the next day. Well, at least I know what I'm gonna do next. I failed to make a zombie farm. Again. This is day 67 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and despite wanting to light up the world, I also want to create a zombie farm to work towards getting copper, but we have to wait for nighttime. So meanwhile, I farmed some potatoes, apparently made the sky go gray, chopped some trees for an unrelated project, and turned off my string duper. After the basic chores, then came my second attempt at a drowning chamber. I made a 3-block deep pool of water for the zombies to go into, as well as placing walls to ensure that they can't hit me. Finally, I added some trapdoors so they'll fall into the water. I finished this right as the moon was rising, so it was time to go to work. I first planted as many torches as I could to prevent mobs from spawning in areas least convenient to me, then transitioned into attempting to activate the zombie recruitment effect. However, for whatever reason, this failed, so a mere 2 zombies actually drowned. Well, at least I have this chainmail helmet. Today I kidnapped an entire Minecraft village. Here is how. This is day 68 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I had a sudden epiphany. You see, there's been a village right next to my base the whole series. I just never used it because I preferred useless build for having fishermen villagers. Well, not anymore. So I crafted some boats and went to said village to begin my kidnapping. Turns out if you take a lead and tie it to the boat, then the villagers on the boat will have no choice but to accept their fate as my mandatory volunteers. This sounds wrong. Anyways, after sweeping through the village and grabbing the majority of villagers, I dragged them back to my base and built a building for all of them to stay at. And somehow, there were absolutely 0 hiccups. First time I could say that in months. I sacrificed a villager for literally no reason. This is day 69 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and to celebrate the occasion, I wanted to do something creative. So the first thought I had was to build a shrine. I added some nether materials, cacti, and even a fence pole. But after realizing that the shrine needs a sacrifice, I decided to pull one of the villagers I kidnapped yesterday to bring to the shrine. It took a bit of trial and error, including when the villager escaped, but I eventually got them tethered to the pole. Last time you're ever doing that. After taking a quick picture and adding a few more decorations, it was time to light the shrine, with the villager directly on top of the flames. Feeling satisfied, I decided to spend more time lighting up the surroundings of my base, as well as collecting zombies to bring back to the villager. Shockingly though, when I came back to the shrine, the villager was gone, only leaving the boat they were on. To take my mind off the probable murder I just committed, I converted the zombies into drowned while mourning the very preventable loss of a villager. Guess feeling bad worked though, because I got my first ever copper ingot. Sacrifices do work. I was chased by a horde of mobs to find 1 chicken. This is day 70 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I wanted to make a brush with the copper ingot I had just found. However, you need a feather to complete the craft, and since there were no chickens to be found, I had to get creative. So I prioritized searching for a zombie chicken jockey. I first tried with my mob farm, which though had a large amount of mobs, didn't have what I was looking for. I did get a carrot though, so while waiting for the night, I added another layer to my farm to include carrots, as well as replenishing my dirt stock. As the moon rose, I decided to go out into the wild to see if any zombie chicken jockeys would spawn, but as I blew creepers up, I eventually found absolutely nothing of value. So to sulk, I went into this desert temple, found that the TNT was still there, and blew it all up. At least I destroyed something today. I walked 4,000 blocks to try and find 1 feather. This is day 71 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and after getting out of my hole, I decided to search through the desert in hopes of finding a chicken animal pen. However, this journey is incredibly boring, with nothing but sand, cactus, and slimes per thousands of blocks. The structures were honestly nothing burgers as well, with no notable loot to be found. What I did realize was that because my world was at light level 0, that meant ores could actually spawn into lava lakes, explaining why there was casually iron ore in the wild. Maybe one day I could find diamond ore. Anyways, the night was bright, so I decided to see if a chicken jockey would show up. But once again, literally nothing happened. So I decided to go into another desert temple, but because I went in such a rush, I didn't realize the TNT was going to blow up, and I paid the consequences. How will I recover from this? Find out next time in the second coming of hell. I got full diamond armor one day after losing everything. This is day 72 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I needed to regear after dying. So with my dupe string, I rushed the useless build of trade with my fishermen villagers. After also maxing out a toolsmith, I went back to my base to get food. But since I'm poor again, I had to resort to bread. What a nightmare! I then made a sword and enchanted it with sharpness 2, then grabbed some armor from my chest to be full diamond once more. After grabbing even more string, I went straight back to trading. It was certainly a bit more annoying because it was past their bedtime, but I eventually got the emeralds I needed, as well as taking some of their barrels. I didn't have much else to do, so I decided to go to sleep, but with my cat this time to remind me that I do have friends. I'm finally regeared and ready to get things done. I made a 15 by 15 dirt square because of my viewers. This is day 73 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I fed into one of my comments suggesting that having a grass platform would spawn animals. So I took my dirt and gravel and went off into an area without torches to see if the idea would work. What I didn't know was that because I had to constantly dig out the dirt to make more coarse dirt, the project would take the majority of the day, and by the time I finished it, I still needed to get some grass blocks. Thanks to a silk touch axe I had in my chest, however, I was able to get some grass blocks just as the night rose. Due to these circumstances, however, I basically had to rush through mobs to get the grass into the square, in which many zombies were waiting for me. For some dumb reason though, I decided to get more of them to spawn, have them in a single file line, and then barely survive while trying to throw them into my drowning chamber on 1 heart. Anyway, so fun fact, I got no copper and I still need to get them off my back. Why do I do this to myself? I spent all day waiting for one grass block to appear. This is day 74 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and after killing some leftover zombies, I wanted to work on my dirt platform to eventually fully convert it into grass. So after chopping some wood, I went to work on converting all the remaining coarse dirt into path blocks. However, because of pesky slimes, this actually took so long that I was scrambling to finish it before nightfall. Luckily, I did, and the grass was already starting to spread. After doing some bone mealing, I decided that I was annoyed enough by the mobs around it to go all the way to useless build to buy some campfires. I was hoping that more grass blocks would appear during this time, but looks like I was too far, as by the time I had torches to light up the area, not a single block had converted to grass. Why must everything take forever? I built a 50 by 50 perimeter to spawn one chicken. This is day 75 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I found out that chickens don't spawn in deserts, at least by themselves. You see, they can spawn as a chicken jockey with baby zombies, so off I was to make a specific area for all the mobs to spawn in. This requires a bit of blocks though, so after making a framework for the perimeter, I took some TNT from my chest and probably broke multiple environmental regulations by farming sandstone. Anyway, after getting my multiple stacks of sandstone, off I was into the night to finish building the walls. The hard part of this is paying attention to the mobs, because they weren't going to suddenly stop harassing me. Slimes in particular are annoying because they turn into more slimes to kill after death. Either way though, the task was completed, and after using all my torches to light up the area, I went to sleep with my cat to get a gift. Spoiler alert, I didn't get anything. I got harassed by mobs to place 331 torches. This is day 76 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and it all started off by me building a third layer to my 50 by 50 perimeter. Not before getting harassed by slimes, of course. My main goal for the day, however, was to actually light up the surroundings of the perimeter, but the best way to know if places are lit, if you're far too lazy to use plugins anyway, was to light up the area at nighttime. So in the meanwhile, I worked on my carrot farm, realized I had no cobblestone, blew up a whole tunnel to get more cobblestone, mined over a half a stack of campfires, and off I was to light up the entire world, or at least as much as I felt like doing. This task actually isn't too hard, but you do have to deal with the dodging and leaving of mobs, which I don't think anyone particularly enjoys, but I sucked it up and dealt with it anyway, taking it as far as placing torches during the sunrise just so I could say I finished placing. These torches should keep mobs from spawning here forever, yet the slimes are still here. I let my villagers sleep for the first time in 9 days. This is day 77 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I shifted my focus onto this group of villagers in my base. I've left them relatively untouched since kidnapping them on day 68, but now I do have a use for them, which is for them to become Fletchers. So I started by creating space for them to hang around without them being able to escape, accidentally assaulted a villager trying to free a boat, made some fletching tables, and here I am struggling to bring enough materials to craft enough beds. After mining out some trees and looking at my useless patch of grass, I fed the villagers some food to make babies, but it didn't occur to me until the end of the day that the babies needed a bed for themselves too. However, that's for tomorrow me, as I just made the room for beds and called it quits. Look, the bed's so bouncy. I shoved all my villagers underground. This is day 78 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and I wanted to improve on my villager compound, but not before turning on the string duper. With that out of the way, I moved on to digging out the compound I was planning the villagers to be in. I placed a bunch of leftover beds alongside ripping away the beds for the existing villagers, and what a room I've made for them already. Now the hard part was actually getting the villagers to go down into the compound, because they'd simply not move. In fact, I had to bow down an iron golem just so the villagers would actually go into the hole. Even after the iron golem died, I was still doing a bad job shoving them down. So bad in fact that I even hurt one of them. Whatever, the iron golem can't hurt me now. After taking a quick trip to Useless Mill to discover that the fishermen still weren't ready to trade, I was ready to sleep for the night, but a villager somehow was on my bed. Guess they're getting punished. Time to go to sleep, and I finally got a feather! It'll all make sense soon. It took me 79 days to get this item in my world. This is day 79 of 1 Minecraft day per day, and after getting my prize feather, I spent my day basically waiting for nightfall so I can try and get copper from Drowned. Activities included going to Useless Mill to trade string, going to my mob farm to discover that mobs do come out of the tube, accidentally burning myself in lava, farming crops, breeding my cows, ruthlessly murdering my cows, cooking the remains, and now I'm in the night hunting for zombies while lighting up the surroundings. I've done this many times by now, so this was just as simple as activating the zombie recall effect and having enough of them chasing me around. I even led them to my water trap with barely any hiccups. While waiting though, I lit up more of my surroundings, and this turned out to be a big mistake, because by the time I came back to the water trap, barely any of them were there. It didn't matter though, because one of them dropped copper anyway, and we can finally make the brush. I can finally upload a long form video. Now here's what you've all been waiting for. Day 80. Now that we finally have our brush, it's time to reap the rewards of the work done. So I headed off to a desert temple to find some treasure, and got a diamond on my first try. Hard work does pay off. The rest of this loot in this temple and the next temple aren't as exciting, but hey, I still got some pretty cool pottery shards to decorate my base just a little bit more. Honestly though, it was just cool to be able to go into this section of the temple I've had to leave completely untouched. Not to mention that this was my first ever time using a brush in a desert temple period. After arriving home and adding a sign that says 80 to represent how long I've been playing this world, I can gladly say that this arc is complete. And with that, that's the end of today's video. If you want to watch the previous video, click on this button now. Besides that, please subscribe and stay tuned. Bye bye!